The San Antonio Spurs have all of a sudden put together one of the most interesting and dangerous young cores in the NBA. The Spurs collection of players 25 and under is really impressive. You're talking about Stephon Castle, Victor Wembanyama, Jeremy Sohan, Julian Champagnie, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and Dylan Harper if the Spurs end up taking him at number 2. Plus, De'Aaron Fox, who's 27 and just entering his prime. This could arguably be the best young core in basketball, rivaling the OKC Thunder. When you look at this core, it's of course headlined by generational talent Victor Wembanyama and Stephon Castle, who won the Rookie of the Year as well. The Spurs, they have the foundation for what's looking like a long-term Western Conference powerhouse. They aren't just building something special for the future. They are in prime position to compete right now. Victor Wembanyama, I mean, he has been unbelievable. And of course, unfortunately, he had to end his season short because of a shoulder blood clot. And he was well on his way to winning the Defensive Player of the Year and receiving all NBA honors if that never happened. As Wemby, he has emerged as arguably the best two-way player in the NBA already, averaging 24.3 points, 11 rebounds, 3.8 blocks, and 1.1 steals per game. He was a huge defensive anchor for the Spurs, and he's just been getting better. It all starts and ends with Victor Wembanyama. But now, with Wemby, he's going to have a new running mate, and it's in all likelihood going to be Dylan Harper, because according to ESPN draft expert Jonathan Givony, Harper is pretty much a near lock to be selected second overall by the Spurs, as he would join Castle and Fox in what could be a 3-guard lineup.
The San Antonio Spurs are signaling to teams that they are very excited about the opportunity to draft Dylan Harper. They are not pursuing trades from what we're hearing. They think that they can play Dylan Harper together with Steph Castle and De'Aaron Fox in the same backcourt. Obviously, teams have some question marks about the amount of shooting on that roster. That's something that they are probably going to address at a later stage. Dylan Harper is the second best prospect in this draft. He will go second, I believe.
You look at Harper, he's 19 years old. He looks like he's going to be an absolute stud. He's already got those scoring instincts at the next level. I mean, he shot 48.4% from the field at Rutgers while averaging 19.4 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 4 assists. And Givony compared his pre-draft measurements to Dwayne Wade. And all of a sudden, it's going to make for an interesting backcourt where you have Fox, Castle, and Harper. And it could raise a lot of questions about shooting, but when you talk about these three players and how good they are, I mean, the upside, it's extremely high. And you look at Fox, I mean, we know what he's going to bring. He's that playmaker. He's just got a burst of speed, able to create for himself. He's a true leader. And then Castle had such a big rookie season. He's long, he's athletic. And then you're going to add Harper, who adds that natural scoring ability. And all these guys are just going to be tremendous assets for the Spurs on both ends of the floor. And then beyond that, you're going to have Jeremy Sohan, who's just 22, Champagnie, who's 23, Vassell, 24, Keldon Johnson, 25. And these are all versatile wings who can do a bunch of things, right? When it comes to defending at a high level, rebounding, and even do some things offensively. The Spurs just got so many good players that possess a winning mentality. And, you know, it's interesting to note because when the Spurs jumped up and got number 2, there was huge speculation, and there continues to be huge speculation on if the Spurs are going to potentially dangle that number 2 pick in a big package. Giannis Antetokounmpo's name has come up a ton, and that could clearly be a play. The Spurs, I would think, would be one of the top teams to put forth just a super compelling package for Giannis if he becomes available. But there's kind of two sides of that. Like, would the Spurs willing to sacrifice so many assets for a win now guy who's obviously an MVP caliber player? He's still in his prime. Or should they continue to ride this slow approach of just doing it the right way, building on their young talent, not try to accelerate their timeline while still building a very balanced core, just having a lot of guys with high upside, high IQ around their franchise guy in Wembanyama? Or should they try to skip the line? Should they look at this as an opportunity like, we have so many good young pieces, should we go all in for Giannis? And all of a sudden you have Giannis, Wemby, and Fox, but obviously that's going to cost a ton. You're going to have to part ways with the number 2 pick, Dylan Harper. You're going to have to part ways with some of these other younger guys and future draft assets. So let me know down below, Spurs fans, which approach do you want the Spurs to take? I know there's been back and forth. I've seen the narratives online. You know, some people are inclined and willing to go all in for Giannis and really maximize Wemby's winning years, because like Wemby's, you have to wait until Wemby's in his prime. He's ready to win at a high level now, or the slow, methodical approach and not gut your team for a superstar player. Because the Spurs, I mean, if they don't make the trade for Giannis, this is still going to be a very dangerous team in my opinion. I could see this team being at the very least a playing team, and maybe they take a huge leap. We've seen some other teams take that big jump. You know, the Thunder, prior to what they are now, they took a big jump a couple seasons ago. Can the Spurs be that team? I mean, they're in prime position to do so, even if they don't necessarily go after that big blockbuster trade. So it is an interesting thing to think about. But all in all, it's a good situation the Spurs are in. They're in the driver's seat here. And Wembanyama, you know, he obviously needs to come back healthy, but he's going to continue to develop into that MVP, GOAT level type player. And when you look at just the Spurs team around him, what they have right now, it's just a deep, young, solid core. And this rebuild looks to be almost completed. The Spurs have been patient. They've really been methodical with their approach. They've built the chemistry. They let these guys develop. And now it's like the Spurs, they're ready to make that next step. They're ready to take that jump. And it's going to happen soon, I think. Because the San Antonio Spurs, they do look to be in a really good spot where I can see them being one of the best Western Conference teams for the next decade. When I look at the landscape of like great young cores, it's OKC and it's San Antonio. They're in that conversation, even Houston. But those are the 3 teams I see with just super, super bright futures. But again, they're ready to compete now. Like this San Antonio Spurs team, they are ready to compete now. So that is just the ultimate luxury to have. But let me know your thoughts, Spurs fans. How optimistic are you about the Spurs' current situation? What do you think? Should the Spurs go all in for Giannis, or should they just ride this thing out? Let me know your thoughts. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. That's it for me. It's Luke signing off. Thanks so much for watching. I will catch you all again in the next one.